Hello everyone, this is Zilzin Zilvtor, and I am doing a Palace of the Dead tutorial, and we're going to start on floor 1 and work all the way up to as far as we can go. So what I'll be doing is I will be explaining how Palace works, I will be explaining the palms and how to use them, and just what generally Palace is good for and all that fun stuff. I love running this place so much. It is so fun. So, as you know from unlocking palettes, every time you run this, it is completely random. The floor layout is random, the amount of chests you get are random, the types of chests you get are random. Uh, the only thing that pretty much stays consistent from floor to floor is the type of mobs that you get and the boss at the end of the floor. So we're at floor 1, and at floor 1 you start off as level 1. So we're level 1. I only have one spell. And basically all you do is you go through Palace and you collect chests. So there are silver chests. They um, give you higher Aether Pull arm or armor, or they can explode on you. There are gold chests, which drop palms, and they can also turn into mimics. And there are bronze chests that drop potions and Galmoran potsherds that you can use for turning in to get cool things like materia, um, minions, and orchestra rolls. So I am maxed out at my. I've run this place so much. I am maxed out on my ether pool for like the third time. And I have one healing spell and 2 DPS spells. So, so there are different types of traps. One is an innervation trap. As you can see, damage dealt is reduced and damage taken is increased. We've also picked up some palms. We have Pomander Sight, which gives you the layout of the floor. I should probably start paying attention. And Pomander Affluence, which increases the number of treasure chests on the next floor. So basically, the goal is to kill enough mobs to activate the teleport to go on to the next floor. So we got a strength, which increases damage dealt and HP recovered via healing magic by 30%. So the first 50 floors are pretty easy as long as your party is coordinated. Pomander Fortune increases the chance enemies on the current floor will drop treasure coffers. And we just blew up. Well, Aether blew up. So over here is where the map is going to be, and obviously over here is all your character information. Oh, and if your character information ever disappears, just push C. Same thing for your map. If you want to go away, just push M. So 3 of us have high Aether Pulls, so our weapons are red. So whenever your Aether Pull arm reaches 60, it goes from glowing, like how hers is glowing, to the red weapon. And that's how you know people have high Aether Pull. At least they're high arm. So Palace is really great for leveling up alt classes. The way that the leveling system works, you know, since you always start off at 1 and you gradually get to max level by floor 50. Um, this place is also a really good place to try out new classes to see if you're gonna like them or not, and it takes the bit of a grind out of, you know, doing the same leave quests over and over to leveling up. And I run this place like all the time. So you're only allowed to have three, uh, 3 palms at any given time. So typically, if we max out on one, um, someone will use it, so we can pick up another one if we run out or run into one. So for example, we already had 3 pomander strengths, and we went to open up a chest that already had one. So Aesir used a pomander strength so we could get that chest. So, and another great thing about POD is that party composition does not matter. So you could run this with 4 healers, you could run this with 3 DPS and a healer, or a tank and 3 DPS, or your typical composition of tank, healer, and 2 DPS. You could run it with all DPS. And because the party composition doesn't matter, the queue for this is pretty much instant no matter what you queue up at. So one of the challenges of going through POD is being able to work together with people that you grouped up with, no matter what your composition is, to be able to get through it. Obviously, some compositions are easier than others to do. Pomander of Intuition lets you find an accursed horde. So it'll tell you if an accursed horde is on the floor. And so here you sense, and it's already been discovered. That was quick. And accursed hordes are treasures that you turn in, you get sacks out of them. So here's one sack. You get sacks out of them that you turn in to the bishop outside for prizes. You can get materia, you can get cosmetic gear, sparklers, firecrackers, palace housing decorations, minions, stuff like that. And the deeper you get into palace, the harder palace gets, but the more treasures, better treasure rewards you get. So what else do we have? We have a Pomander of Safety. That removes all traps from the current floor. So that's always nice. Now, there are some combinations of palms that you shouldn't use together. For example, Pomander of Safety and Pomander of Sight. When you activate a Pomander of Sight, not only does it reveal the map, but it also puts the traps, shows the traps on the floor. So you would clearly see where the traps are, so you couldn't step on. The traps are still active, so if you did step on them, obviously you would activate them. Pomander Safety would kind of be a waste because you can see where the traps are, therefore you can avoid them. Another combo that would be a bad idea is a um, Pomander of Flight, and then you use Rage and Fortune on the next floor. If there's going to be fewer enemies on the floor, there's no reason for you to rage through them or use a fortune because not a whole lot are going to drop chests. But every floor, the mechanics of the floor are the same. You're going to have your traps that blow you up, turn you into frogs, lower your defense. Oh, I have prots. And sometimes there's just a Russian roulette of bad luck of what happens. So, for example, I had one run where I went to go open up a chest and I stepped on a landmine and I blew myself up. And instead of waiting to heal or getting healed, I went and opened up a silver chest and that blew up. And I died. And the boss fights are pretty easy as long as you follow mechanics. Someone got toted. My favorite types of traps, my favorite trap in this place is what we call a lure trap. And what a lure trap does is whoever steps on it, a bunch of mobs will appear in a room. And then they will all run to the person that stepped on the lure trap. And it can be fun when someone steps on a lure trap in a room that you haven't yet cleared. So then you have all these mobs attacking you at once, and it can get pretty intense, but it's also really, really fun for me to heal through it. So we picked up a Pomander of Witching with a couple of those, and what that does is if you're in a room full of mobs, you activate that and it turns them all into chickens or little imps, or yeah, frogs, imps, or chickens. And that prevents the mobs from using their abilities. And we are in a fixed party, so that means that we'll be able to keep our palms between floor sets. So basically the way that it goes is each set is 10 floors. So like we're doing set floors 1 through 10, and then on floor 10 will be the boss. And then the next set will be floors 11 through 20, and then on floor 20 will be the next boss, and so forth, so forth. If you're new and this is your first time doing Palace, you have to complete the first 50 floors, including fighting Edda and beating her, before you will be allowed to continue on floors 51 through 100. To get past floors 100 or floor 100, you have to be in a fixed party and have no party wipes. and then you'll be able to go from floor 101 to 150, and the same rule applies. However, if you have a party wipe anytime um, prior to floor 100, you'll just start back at that beginning of the floor set. You'll just have to reduce. So like if we got to floor 50 and we wiped on Etta, we would have to start back at floor 41. No big deal. Same thing with floors 51 through 100. If you wipe, you just start back at the beginning of that floor set. Past floor 100, 101 and up, if you wipe, you start back at floor 51. So if you get to 150 and you wipe on bus 150, you start back at floor 51. And Palace of the Dead goes up to 250 floors. And it gets progressively harder the deeper you go. It is possible to solo Palace, but I really wouldn't recommend doing that unless you absolutely knew what you were doing and you had a pretty high ether pool, if it not being maxed out. It is really easy to max out your ether pool here. No, I don't have my cleanse yet. And if your ether pool isn't high enough to do certain floor sets, it won't let you do them. Now I got my cleanse. So, in floors 1 through 10, none of the mobs are really special. The only ones that you have to watch out for if they pop up are the hornets. And they can do a nasty sting if you don't kill them on time. That sting could kill you depending on what your ether pool is. So another cool thing about palettes is you can turn in your ether pool to get powerful weapons. So the first weapon that you get, I believe it's called a Pajali. I'm probably butchering that word. And it only requires 30 ether pool arm and 30 ether pool armor, and that means you get the white glowing um, weapon. And then to get the Kenna weapon, which is the red one that you see, that requires ether pool arm and armor to be at 60. A lot of people just wait until they have the 90-90 to get them both at the same time. But exchanging the ether pool for the weapons resets your ether pool. So keep that in mind. So if I were to turn in my ether pool right now to get the red Kenna weapon, I would get set back to 9-9, which means I wouldn't have access to the higher floors until I got my ether pool back up. And that's right now the only reason why I haven't done that is because the FC has a run where we're on floor 131 right now. And if I was to get my Kenna, that would kind of screw it up for everybody. So, so I've been uh, waiting to finish that progression before I turn in my ether pool for that. So, and I'm doing a full FC run of Palace. Be right back in a moment. Okay, we're back and we're gonna continue the run. And you know the hornet I was just telling you about? Well, there it is. If you stay in one spot for too long, a random mob will spawn. It's to prevent people from just going AFK in a room and having everyone else do the work for them. And I stepped on a toad trap. Now you get to look at me being all cute. Ribbit, ribbit. And of course, while you're a toad, you can't do anything. Alrighty. The only downside with Palace is that because it doesn't follow conventional dungeon rules, people use this as a place to go hog wild and not play their class properly. Or just really not play properly at all. And there's a bronze chest on the map. I'm so used to having the aspect of Helios. It's right right over here. Ah, it's a mimic. Damn. Mimics. At higher levels, mimics have a faster chance of throwing pox at you. And to get rid of pox, you need a palm of purity. And that is the only way to get rid of pox. Pox lasts about 10 minutes, and it slowly eats away at your health. And I also believe it reduces the amount of damage you do. Hooray for it. Not really. Something aggroed. A hornet. Yeah, a bunch of poop beetles. And someone blew up. Slowly backing away. I always get turned around in this place. No surprise, right? Alright, so this guy, he's pretty tank and spank. All you really have to do is just avoid his AoE. That's it. He doesn't do anything special. In fact, he's so boring, I probably could get away with not healing this. Well, maybe if I had to use. Yeah, that's it. And that concludes floors 1 through 10. So I will see you in the next video. Bye bye!